like a migraine, like really bad migraine, for about 3 or 4 days. And this was during like COVID with the homeschooling, and so I was on my laptop every day. And then one day I woke up and I went down, and my mum asked me, "Why are you smirking?" And I knew I wasn't.
So the doctor said, what did I expect for the doctors to be telling me? And I said, well, that she's got like a facial palsy. They said, no, could you take her to A&E and have a scan?
I was brought into this room and they showed me the scan, and that was when I was told she had cancer. At first you don't process it, you just hear it and you think that's not happening. Because like you hear about people getting cancer, and like even though they say 1 or 2 of us will get cancer, you don't think it's going to be you, but then it just happens.
Just couldn't believe it. She's so healthy. She had a headache for 3 days. That was it. The scans may show that the tumour's gone because it was the size of a tangerine. It's now the size, it's just a blur, the size of your fingernail. But that's not the full picture.
I was so panicky and stuff about my going down to the theatre, and the woman was talking to me. I didn't even realise that they were about to put me under, and she asked me what I had on my pizza, like my favourite toppings, and then I just went.
There's only one of us allowed in with us, so I come out, my husband was on the floor in a heap. And we waited for like 12 hours, the longest 12 hours of our life.
And the next thing I woke up and I felt like I couldn't move, and like my body was just limp, and I had just awoken from a brain surgery.
She come round and they said we needed to prepare that one side of her she may have no use of. We just didn't know. And she just smiled. She squeezed my hand with the hand that she wasn't supposed to be able to use. And she was just fantastic.
It is hard because like you feel really weak and like you could just fall apart onto the floor. Like, the last thing I remember is walking into the bathroom, looking in the mirror, having my mum being behind me, and then being in an ambulance. After a while I was sent home and I was given Keppra. But after the Keppra, was added on, my chemotherapy began.
She just loved Christie's. It was great. She loved the technology. She loved the smell of a brain burning.
It gives you something to do and it takes your mind off that chemo because you're focusing on getting in the machine and listening to music while you're in it. And like the doctors at the Christie's was so nice.
And the fact she'd walk down the corridors and the radiographers would go, "I am," and they knew her name. They were so brilliant.
The actual mask making process as well is really fun because it basically feels like a facial. You just have like this nice warm texture on your face. You get to keep the mask at the very end. You can melt it down, the plastic, and then reshape it into whatever you want. And it's just like a good way to remember what you've been through.
She's endured 12 months of intensive chemotherapy that they said at Manchester, at the Children's Hospital, that nobody's managed to be on it this long.
Even when you're just looking at it, you can already feel the sickness coming into you and you've not even taken it yet. It's that powerful. But eventually it got to the point where I am now, where I have nothing else in terms of like chemo, because I can't have, there's like a limit you get to and then you have to stop for a while and then I have to see what happens.
We could find a miracle. And we've got to keep her alive until that miracle comes along. That's the only way we can deal with it. I think as a whole, as a family, it's nice it's to say we've become stronger and we've worked together. But unfortunately, it doesn't always happen like that. I think talking about it is really good advice. Keep conversation going. It's every day. It's not a nice conversation to talk about, but you've got to keep talking.
I'd say like keep a bucket list of what you want to do while you're on like meds. It's like make plans with friends, be social, like explore, do things you want to do, because it's a great time to do that because you can take your mind off it and you have the time to do it. I was never like a going out kind of person, but I'm planning like a whole summer with my friend. Like we're gonna go to Owen's house and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just like think ahead and to also just keep your mind off things. Like whenever you're going in for a machine or like going into a machine or having a scan, don't focus on the fact that you're in a weird machine and you don't know what could happen. Focus on like the music playing because you're always allowed to have like songs on in the background. Don't think about the worst case scenario, think about the best case scenario because that is a much easier way to stay like positive.